Hello, welcome back to News of Asha. Today is 14th of August 2023. Let's see what's happening in the world today. Miss Universe organization cuts Indonesia ties over sexual abuse claims. Miss Universe organization MUO has cut ties with its Indonesian franchise after several contestants alleged sexual abuse days before the pageant's crowning ceremony in Jakarta. Contestants said finalists were unexpectedly asked to strip for a body check for scars and cellulite, and some said they were photographed topless. MUO also said it was cancelling this year's pageant in Malaysia, which is run by the same company, PT Kapila Swastika Karya. MUO thanked the women that filed the complaints for their bravery and reiterated providing a safe place for women was its priority. Miss Universe, which is now on its 73rd edition, is popular in Southeast Asia, especially in Indonesia, the Philippines and Thailand, where winners go on to become celebrities and social media influencers. This is an unfortunate event. Let's hope the investigations go through and we will find out the truth in time to come. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you very much. Argentine far-right outsider Javier Milei post-shock win in primary elections. Buenos Aires. Argentine voters punished the country's two main political forces in a primary election on Sunday, pushing a rock-singing libertarian outsider candidate into first place in a huge shake-up in a race towards presidential elections in October. With some 90% of ballots counted so far, far-right libertarian economist Javier Milei has 30.5% of the vote, far higher than predicted, with the main conservative opposition bloc behind on 28% and the ruling Peronist coalition in third place on 27%. The result is a stinging rebuke to the centre-left Peronist coalition and the main Together for Change conservative opposition bloc, with inflation at 116% and a cost of living crisis leaving 4 in 10 people in poverty. We are the true opposition, Milei said in a bullish speech after the results. A different Argentina is impossible with the same old things that have always failed. This is true for every country on earth right now, where majority of the people in power are 60, 70, 80 years old, which does not make sense. They should be retired and they should be living out their old lives by the beach, as opposed to trying to decide how 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds should be living their lives. Considering the amount of change in technology, I doubt these 70 or 80-year-old people even know how to use a computer. The unpredictable factor had been Milei, whose loud rock-style rallies are reminiscent of ex-US President Donald Trump. He outperformed all forecasts. Most polls had given him just shy of 1/5 of the likely vote, though many were also badly wrong 4 years ago in the 2019 primaries. Turnout was under 70%, the lowest for a primary election since they started to be held in Argentina over a decade ago. Maria Fernanda Medina, a 47-year-old teacher, said she had also lost some optimism about politicians truly bringing change after many years of revolving economic crisis. I don't have much hope because in every election I feel a little disappointed, she said as she cast her ballot in Tigre. But hey, we can't lose all hope, right? This sentiment is echoed by many people around the world. Even in Malaysia, which just had their state elections, the turnout was very poor, which was a blow to the Anwar regime. And unfortunately, majority of people are actually unhappy with the way politics is being handled in this current age, where nothing is changing. Despite the change in political parties, it's as though there are 5 different political parties, but they all have the same agenda and goal. And this is an unfortunate event, because democracy seems to be just a sideshow and a facade that is used by politicians to say that we are a democratically elected country, whereas the policies and what's going on in the background doesn't seem to change at all. Taiwan will not back down to threats, says its vice president during US trip. Taipei. Taiwan will not be afraid nor back down in the face of authoritarian threats, the island's vice president told supporters on a United States visit that Beijing has condemned, while reiterating a willingness to talk to China. William Lai, also frontrunner to be Taiwan's next president in January elections, is in the US on what is officially a transit stop on his way to Paraguay for the inauguration of its new president. Paraguay is one of only 13 countries to maintain formal ties with the Chinese-claimed island. Lai told at a supporters' lunch in New York on Sunday that if Taiwan is safe, the world is safe. If Taiwan Straits is peaceful, then the world is peaceful, according to Taiwan Presidential Office. No matter how great the threat of authoritarianism is to Taiwan, we absolutely will not be scared nor cower. We will uphold the values of democracy and freedom, he said. As we were just speaking about democracy, it seems like a facade, and the whole world seems to be run by an authoritarian regime in the background. China is probably the only one that's honest, doing it right in the forefront by not hiding the simple fact that they are an authoritarian regime. Unfortunately, if a war does break out in Taiwan, it does not bode well for the rest of the world. Therefore, let's hope that cooler heads will prevail. China's economic challenges gather steam as new loans plunge, property fears loom. Beijing. China's economy is running into more challenges. Credit data for July released Friday showed a slump in demand for businesses and households to borrow money for the future. Real estate problems persist, with once healthy developer Country Garden now on the brink of default. Consumer sentiment is weak. The weak July credit data suggests a downward spiral of the property sector continues, and worsening geopolitical tensions add to the uncertainty. Lu Ting, chief China economist at Nomura, and a team said in a Friday report. In Japan, during the 1990s, corporates might have paid down their debt to improve their chances of survival. But in today's China, corporates and households are cutting their borrowing due to a lack of confidence and trust, the report said. On Tuesday, China is set to release July economic data that's expected to show no change from June in the pace of growth for industrial production and fixed asset investments, according to a Reuters poll. Retail sales are expected to rise 4.7% year-on-year pace in July, slightly faster than in June, the poll showed. I personally don't understand how retail sales can be expected to rise with the amount of debt and the fact that China is faced with floods and monsoons. I doubt people are going out and spending money. But it is also possible that most of this rise is due to the fact that people have to buy new items due to the fact that the monsoon has devastated most of their living conditions, and a large amount of stuff that they had at home has already been destroyed. Therefore, they are forced to spend some money to get back certain things that is important, maybe like microwaves and refrigerators. Therefore, this rise could be directly related to the fact that people are spending out of necessity and not actually because they want to spend money. China's massive real estate sector, where the majority of household wealth is parked, has re-emerged as an area of concern that it could drag down the broader economy. Given that the majority of high-yield developers have either defaulted or conducted bond exchanges, we believe rising stresses among the remaining high-yield developers are unlikely to have broader impact on the offshore bond market, the Goldman analyst said in a report on Friday. We believe of greater concern is whether rising stresses will spill over to investment-grade developers, most of whom are state-owned enterprises. However, China's real estate sector still needs to contract by about 10 percentage points to reach similar level of GDP contribution as Japan or South Korea, said Louis Lau, Director of Investment and Emerging Markets Portfolio Manager at Brands Investment Partners. He pointed out that while real estate has contributed to about 30% of GDP in China, that share is in the lower 20 percentage points in South Korea and Japan. In 2020, Beijing began an earnest crackdown on developers' high reliance on debt for growth. Authorities have eased their stance in recent months, with a notable shift in late July, but stopped short of large-scale stimulus. The more the government tries to help the real estate industry, the longer it takes for the industry to find a reasonable bottom, Lau said. In my opinion, I really don't know what the Chinese government can do to spur confidence, and the only way China is going to get out of this mess is if they change the leaders, simply because the population has lost confidence with the ruling coalition, and this is a confidence problem, and a confidence problem cannot be solved by injecting money. A confidence problem has to be solved by regaining confidence. Unfortunately, the confidence has been lost with the ruling party, and the only way to regain confidence is to have a new ruling party. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen in China anytime soon, so we'll have to just hope and pray that they manage to pull a rabbit out of their hat. It's time to move on, Zuckerberg says. Musk not serious about cage fight. Washington. Billionaires and social media business rivals Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk threw new online jabs at each other on Sunday, with the Meta founder declaring the owner of X, formerly known as Twitter, was not treating the proposed charity cage match seriously. Zuck is a chicken, Musk posted. He can't eat at Chick-fil-A because that would be cannibalism, Musk posted. Musk said Friday the fight would take place in Italy as authorities there confirmed talks about hosting a great charity. I spoke to the PM of Italy and Minister of Culture, Musk wrote, referring to Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. They had agreed on an epic location. Italian Culture Minister Gennaro Sangiuliano confirmed speaking to Musk about how to organize a great charity event evoking history, but said any match will not be held in Rome. Well, it doesn't seem like Musk is chickening out if he's already talking to the ministers in Italy and there's confirmation of this. Therefore, it's hard to say that Musk is the one that wants to chicken out, but moguls like these are mostly sociopaths or psychopaths, so they'll just say anything to get clicks and likes. Musk noted on Friday that he may need to undergo a minor surgery to resolve a problem with my right shoulder blade rubbing against my ribs. Recovery will only take a few months, he added. The world's richest person has a titanium plate holding two vertebrae together, but said Friday it is currently not an issue. If it's true, then Zuckerberg should just allow Musk to do the surgery and get into the fight a few months later. Unfortunately, it seems as though Zuckerberg is the one that is actually afraid and is now just calling people names. Russian scientists started processing data received on Luna 25 craft, space agency. Moscow, Russian scientists have started processing the first data received on the Luna 25 spacecraft after switching on the scientific equipment on board for the first time, Russia's space agency Roscosmos said on Sunday. Luna 25 continues its flight to the Earth's natural satellite. All systems of the automatic stations are working properly. Communications with it is stable. The energy balance is positive, Roscosmos said in a statement published on Telegram messaging app. Russia launched its first moon landing spacecraft in 47 years on Friday in a bid to be the first nation to make a soft landing on the lunar South Pole, a region believed to hold coveted pockets of water ice. The first measurement data on the flight to the moon has been obtained, and the project scientific team has begun processing it, Roscosmos said. Looks like they're competing with India really hard to be the first to the South Pole of the moon. Doesn't matter who gets there first. Hopefully we will work together as a society, as humanity, in order to achieve much greater things as opposed to petty squabbles by billionaires. Australian court fines Dell unit 6.5 million for misleading customers on discounts. Australia's federal court on Monday ordered Dell Technologies Inc. local unit to pay 10 million Australian dollars or US 6.46 million US dollars in penalties for making misleading representations on its website about discounts for add-on computer monitors. This outcome sends a strong message to businesses that making false representations about prices or inflating discounts is a serious breach of consumer law and will attract substantial penalties, said Lisa Carver, Commissioner of the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. Dell Australia, which sold more than 5,300 add-on monitors with overstated discounts between August 2009 and December 16, 2021, will be working with impacted customers to provide appropriate refunds plus interest and are taking steps to improve our pricing process to ensure this sort of errors does not happen again, a spokesperson for Dell Australia said in a statement to Reuters. Well, we really have to take a look on the simple fact that was this really errors or was this deliberate attempts to mislead the consumer? Clearly, if the court found them guilty, it feels as though it was a deliberate attempt, but I shall reserve judgment to see if this happens again. Young adults are more reliant on credit cards than ever before. The countdown until the student loan payment pause is lifted in October is ticking, and some experts worry that once payments resume, many younger Americans will find it harder to dig themselves out of credit card debt. About 53% of millennials and 41% of Gen Z respondents said they were more reliant on credit cards than ever before this summer, according to a recent study by Quicken Inc. The survey, which consisted of 1,002 credit card holders in June, found that 38% were using credit cards to make ends meet. I'm troubled by the compounding problems facing this group, said Eric Dunn, CEO of Quicken. Many of them are living paycheck to paycheck and relying on credit cards they may not be able to afford. The number of credit card accounts grew by 5.48 million to 578.35 million in the second quarter, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York revealed this week. Outstanding credit balances hit 1 trillion, up 4.6% from the previous quarter, the highest level recorded in the series. $1 trillion in credit card debt is staggering, LendingTree chief credit analyst Matt Schultz said in a statement. Unfortunately, it's likely only going to keep growing from here. What's troubling is how, compared with other age groups, the youngest Americans are already having a harder time making payments on time. I don't understand how is it people think this is just a specific problem to America or South Korea or China when it's a problem that's affecting all youth around the world. Every youth in every country, every millennial and every Gen Zer everywhere in the world is struggling to make ends meet. It's not a specific problem that's facing a particular cohort in a particular country. It's a problem that's facing all millennials everywhere around the world. And if none of these economists can understand the simple reason why all this is happening, they should all resign, go back home and retire. The cause of the problem is the simple fact that money has lost its value. And we live in a world where there is only one world's reserve currency that everyone depends on as the barometer, and that barometer is a ruler that keeps changing length. Almost half of millennials and 55% of those earning under 50,000 a year said they didn't see an end in sight as they lived paycheck to paycheck. Another 25% of those surveyed said they would need to cut back on spending because they were currently buried in credit card debt, Quicken found. Credit card interest rates are currently in double digits and not uncommonly 20% or more, which is causing many young people to face rising debt load, Dunn told Yahoo Finance. Millennials should be especially aware of this as over half of them has significant credit card debt. Approximately 46% of borrowers said they weren't financially prepared to resume payments, according to a study of 1,202 former college students with outstanding federal student loans conducted by US News and World Report in June. Most notably, 85% of respondents believe they will face financial hardship due to student loan repayments. That's why, according to Dunn, borrowers will have to act fast to avoid defaulting on their other financial obligations. Young people are already facing a uphill battle when it comes to their finances. It's not their parents' financial environment by any means, Dunn said. Or like duh. Particularly since such a large number of young people have student loans to pay off, many people have a reason to be concerned. It is the whole entire monetary system that has to worry when a whole cohort of people cannot repay their loans. It is the pension funds and the EPFs that need to worry because it is your money that is being loaned out and it's your money that you're not going to get back. Unfortunately, most people in the older generation and the boomers don't realize this, and it's going to hit them like a truck. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll see you again tomorrow.